The people of Gorton and Denton used to get to own things, and now they own very little. That is the major problem that isn't being discussed nearly enough in this by-election. My name's Kat, I'm the director of We Own It, and on this channel we talk about why public services should work for people, not profit, and how we can win campaigns to take them back. So if you live in Gorton and Denton, what do you actually own as a member of the public? You don't own your water company, that's United Utilities. That is owned by a handful of institutional investors. They're putting up your bills by 32% over a 5-year period. Last year, your bill went up by on average £86. This year, it's going up by another £57. There's sewage in your rivers, there's sewage in the sea, and United Utilities isn't working for you. Your energy company, if you look at the energy networks, you're relying on Electricity Northwest. Now that is 88% owned by a Spanish company, 12% by Japanese investors. You don't have any choice about using it. It's a natural monopoly, but it takes around a quarter of your bill together with the gas distribution, which is owned by Cadent Gas. And Cadent Gas is owned by investors including Macquarie's Asset Management in Australia, Qatar investors and the Chinese Investment Corporation, amongst others. So your energy is not owned by you. You have no choice about that energy infrastructure and the money that you are paying for it. And so your bills are going up and up, and the money is going out in generation, in transmission, in distribution, and in retail, it's going out in profits. Your Royal Mail, which probably isn't delivering your letters, is owned by a Czech billionaire. Your stamp prices have gone up massively and you're getting a worse service. You don't own your trains, and Denton is one of the worst served train stations in the country. The B network is going to be taking it over in terms of running of the services, but the trains themselves will stay privately owned. The B network for the buses, again, is helpful, but again, there is no publicly owned bus company, so you don't actually own your buses and trains. You don't own your hospital. Thameside Hospital is one of the worst examples of the private finance initiative that has been leaking money out of our hospitals. And Manchester Royal Infirmary is another. So your NHS locally is being bled dry by these private companies who've been taking money out of your hospital. But it's worse than that, because we've also had 15, 16 years of austerity at this point. We had austerity under the Conservatives, and this Labour government has not reversed it. So I've been looking into some of the services that Gorton and Denton residents have lost, and it's just devastating. For example, police stations. Gorton and Denton both had a front desk police station, and back in 2013, that was taken away. That's a story that is replicated across the country as 600 police stations were closed between 2010 and 2024. Libraries. Denton West Library has had to be maintained by the community because it was going to be closed back in 2013. Again, 800 libraries across the UK have been closed and haven't been rescued by communities. Denton West was a story where volunteers were able to step in. Pools. So Denton's old swimming pool was closed in 2023. Gorton used to have an amazing pool called Gorton Tub, which was closed back in 2001. And that was a real feature and an amazing place that brought people from all around to enjoy the fantastic facility. And that was closed. Public toilets. So West Gorton had a public toilet that was closed in the late 80s or early 90s. Denton had a public toilet that was closed in 2002. Youth centres. West Gorton Youth Centre is standing empty, and people locally are saying, what's going on with this building? Why is there nothing happening there? And then even a donkey sanctuary. So there was an amazing donkey sanctuary in Gorton, which was closed in 2024. It was a place that school kids went to. And that is something that could have been taken over by the council if they had the resources. What is the impact of all of these cuts? All of these amazing facilities and services and community resources that have been taken away from Gorton and Denton during years and years and years of austerity. It's just devastating. And it's a pattern that's been repeated across the whole of the UK. And it's a choice, it's a political choice. And so the candidates in the by-election in Gorton and Denton are sitting around talking about the cost of living. Well, of course, bills are going up because they are serving the profits of this handful of companies who get to own our infrastructure. And they're sitting around talking about antisocial behaviour and struggles in community and high streets that aren't working and people that feel like their infrastructure hasn't been invested in. And it hasn't. What frustrates me is the level at which this conversation is happening, because it seems like there's just a bunch of different issues and there's so much disagreement, but actually all of this is about the role of the state and whether we get to own things as the public and as communities. And if you don't believe that we get to do that, nothing else that you propose in the way of policies is going to fix anything. So I believe every single candidate in Gorton and Denton should actually be proposing to buy back, take back assets. Assets at the national or the regional level, assets at the local level. And people will say we can't afford it, but we can. What we can't afford is for people to carry on struggling with the cost of living, carry on struggling with poor quality of life in their communities. We can afford it also because buying an asset means that you get an asset, and we have to stop having this crazy accounting where we say that it doesn't count if you own an asset. Yes, it costs money, but it's better and it creates good outcomes for the public and for our communities. And it means that you have that asset on your balance sheet. And for example, in the case of water, that is a profitable asset with a revenue base. And the revenue base is us. And we need to be owning these services and assets so that we can actually deliver what people need. Any candidate who is worth their salt in Gorton and Denton is going to be saying that. They're going to be planning for that. They're going to be wanting to take back what used to belong to us and make it better, instead of just being in the business of managing decline. So tell me what you think. Are you in Gorton and Denton? Do you agree? What have I missed out? Because I've just done a little bit of research. What else has been closed? What else has been cut? What else would you like to see back in the hands of the people, in the hands of the public, working for communities in Gorton and Denton? Please do comment below. I'd love to hear about more examples of these kinds of things. It's not asking too much for communities to get to own services, for communities to get to own assets, for the public to actually own something so that money is going into people's pockets instead of into the hands of a handful of shareholders around the world. And the people of Gorton and Denton deserve to own assets and services. Please do like, subscribe and share this video, and I hope to hear from you in the comments below. Thank you.